guys, I'm here to do a weekly wrap up of all the books I read last week. I meant to do a vlog. In fact, I filmed every single day last week, but when yesterday, when my boyfriend was going to put all the clips together, come to find out that he was cleaning up the laptop on Saturday and he accidentally deleted all of the clips. And I was like, no. He tried to retrieve them and then he just couldn't do it. And so yeah, there's a couple clips on my phone I might put at the end of this video. But yeah, so we'll just get into the books I read. The first one is The Babysitters Club by Anne M. Martin. This is Christie's Big Day, book 6 in the series. And in this one, Christie's, her mother is getting married, and so it's a rush wedding because her house unexpectedly sells really fast. And so all of her relatives are coming in to help her out with getting prepared for the wedding, and they're also bringing lots of little ones, and so the adults need time to take care of things, and so they don't want the kids like underneath their feet. And so Christy gets an idea of the Babysitters Club taking care of all these children, and there's 14 kids ages like 10 to like 10 months, something like that. And so like, I feel like if they can handle this, then they can handle anything. And I really like this one because normally you see the babysitters going off on separate jobs, but in this one they're all working together. And so yeah, I really like this one. I then read Wit Song by Gary Paulson, and this is a book I own, but it's like buried in a pile of books over there, so I'll just show you the picture here. And I read Hatchet, and I read Dog in My Life, something like that. It's a memoir by him before, and so I knew a bit about his experience with dogs. That was mentioned a lot in the Dogs is My Life book. And so, but this it's geared towards children, and I would say it's probably like 12 and up because it could be a bit graphic with like the hunting and how the wolves treat the deer, that kind of thing. And so it might be a bit too gruesome for anyone younger than, I don't know, like maybe like 10 or so. Anything younger than that, I probably wouldn't recommend it. But yeah, the first half of the book talked about how he got into working with dogs. He was using them initially on trap runs, and then he got more into wanting to do the Iditarod. So the second half is all about his experience, his first time going to the Iditarod. And that was just kind of bizarre to read about because he talked about how he kept hallucinating, and because he was up for hours and hours, and the dogs just kept wanting to run. And so yeah, it was very interesting to read about, because I've never read about the Iditarod. I mean, it's mentioned in different books, like as an event, but not in the perspective of someone actually like a musher going through with the event. Let's see, and I then listened to Act Like It by Lucy Parker, and this is the first book in the London Celebrity series, and I've heard a lot about this series because a new book, I think a book 3 or book 4 in the series came out, and this follows, both of them are actors, and the guy in the lead here, he has like a bad boy reputation, and so, but she, is like, has a much better reputation, and so their managers put them together to bolster his like ratings or whatever with publicity and things like that. And so it's like a enemies to lovers story, and I really like the writing, but I don't know what it was about the story itself. It just kind of like left me not enjoying it as much as I've seen other people enjoy it. So don't take my word for it, because I think it's a very unpopular opinion to not love it as much as everyone else. But I will continue on with the series because, yeah, the writing was really good. Let's see. I then read Anne of Avonlea. This is book 2 in the Anne of Green Gables series by Ellen Montgomery. And this I read for a readathon that is hosted by a couple people. I will leave a link in the description below to that readathon. And I really like the first book in the series. It's like a classic Anne of Green Gables. But in this one, it annoys me a bit because there's these twins that appear. And so, the first book they adopted Anne, and in this one they adopt these 2 twins. And the boy, he's into everything. He's in lots of trouble, and he's like, well, you didn't tell me to do that, and so I didn't know exactly that it was wrong, or or think he gets away with things like that. Whereas the girl is very by the numbers. She does everything right. But what bothered me about that dichotomy of that is that Anne and I'm blanking on the I'm blanking on the name of her aunt, like Aunt Martha. I don't know. I'm completely blanking. I can't think of the name, but her aunt is with both of them mentioned several times how they prefer the boy over the girl, the very mischievous boy, and the girl's like boring, whatever. And I understand, okay, mentioning it one time, like, they're adopting the twins, like, getting used to their personalities, but to mention it several times, like, to make it a strong point of that annoyed me, because, you shouldn't pick favorites for your children, yeah, and, like, talk about it, that's a little bit, but, what I like about this story is, Anne, is taking care of her aunt, because Aunt May, Aunt Martha, it's bothering me, I can't think of the name, but because she is losing her eyesight, and so, whereas in the first book, Anne was very much the child, and this one she's taking care of things a lot more, and has a lot more responsibility, and so yeah, I like seeing the growth of Anne. Let's see. I then read Say Nothing, A True Story of Murder and Memory in Northern Ireland by Patrick Radin Keefe. And this I can't say anything about because I read it for the BookTube prize. But when the BookTube round 1 ends, then I'll do a wrap-up, including this one. So for this one, I'm now down to, I read 6 books. So this is 3 of the 6. And so I need, hoping in March, of course I have to finish those 3. But yeah, so I'm halfway there with that reading. Then I read Good Girls Lie by J.T. Ellison, and this one it's a thriller, and it's kind of like a YA thriller, and it's set at a boarding school in small town Virginia, and it has like mistaken identities and like a double-ended identities in there, and murder and mayhem and cliquish girls and boarding school setting, and so yeah, I liked it a lot. I don't want to get too descriptive with this story, because like thrillers, I don't want to give too much away with that. Let's see. I then read Charlotte Bronte Before Jane Eyre by Glynis Fox, and initially when I saw this on Hoopla, I saw Jane Eyre as like big and bold there, it grabbed my eye, so I thought it was a adaptation, it's a graphic novel adaptation of Jane Eyre, but no, it's like a biography of Charlotte Bronte. And so, yeah, I really liked it. And then at the end, what I thought was really cool is in her acknowledgments, she talks about how she was inspired to write this and draw this graphic novel because she read Juliet Barker's The Brontes. And that's a biography I read a year or 2 ago, and I loved it. If you want to learn about the Brontes, then you cannot recommend that book highly enough. And so actually, Juliet Barker helped Glynis with her history in there, like making sure that the clothing was accurate and the dialogue and things like that. So yeah, I thought that was really cool to learn about. Tucker, 1 second, I have to step away. My dog is up to no good. Okay, sorry, but again, I don't know how to edit, so I would edit that out. But yeah, hopefully it wasn't too long of a break. Then I read Cold Nose, Warm Heart by Mara Wells, and this was a cute story about a woman who is managing her grandmother's apartment complex, and she used to work for this like highfalutin like hotel chain, but that like went under, and there's like a scandal thing that happened there, and so she is like demoted from this like high profile job to cleaning out garbage disposals and things like that, and she's getting by. The apartment complex is a little bit run down, and but what like has a lot of heart in the story is there's a empty lot beside the apartment that she converts into a dog park, and then the male lead in here, he is actually the grandson of the family she used to work for at the fancy hotel. And so he's like looking for how to redeem his name in a way from that scandal. And so his grandfather gives him that job of renovating the apartment complex that she is running. And he wants they're very they disagree quite a bit on what they want to do with the apartment. She wants to keep it as is. She doesn't want to kick any of the family out. Her grandparents, her grandma was there and all that. Whereas he wants to like bulldoze it all and like just make a skyscraper, that kind of, not skyscraper exactly, but that kind of modern complex. And he wants to take the dog park that she has and turn it into a parking lot. So there's a lot of disagreement there, but in the end, it all works out. And yeah, this was a really nice story with lots of dogs with that dog park. They meet up a lot there, and like you get to know about the community through the dog park. And so yeah, that was nice to read. Let's see. I then read another dog book, Denali, A Man, a Dog, and the Friendship of a Lifetime by Ben Moon. And this actually, at the end, I read that he had a video, like a short clip, telling a bit about his story. And so I will leave a link in the description below to that video if you want to see it. And so this is about a man Ben Moon, who he goes to Portland, Oregon. He wants to be an outdoorsman and go on lots of adventures, and he lives like the van lifestyle. And so yeah, that was really interesting to read about. He becomes a photographer, and he photographs these like mountain climbers, and he actually becomes friends with Alex Holland, which is a guy that I read a biography about last year called Free Solo something. And then I watched a movie on it, the documentary on it, and that was very, very nerve-wracking for me to read about, like, because the free soloing is like where they mountain climb without any ropes or gear or anything like that. And so he doesn't solely focus on that, but yeah, he ends up being friends with that guy, and also like famous musicians. He's a very artsy and gets into he switches from filming climbers to filming like artists, and so he's like friends with all these like famous singers and things like that. But all throughout the whole journey is Denali. And so he has like this like really cool career path. But along with that he is diagnosed with colon cancer at age 29. And so it's a lot of stories about his struggle with that and how the dog really sees him through this, because he's single when he's going through this, and so he doesn't have this like huge family support system. And so he just really relies on the dog. And yeah, that relationship was really cool and just very interesting to read about. It was, cancerous books, I kind of stay away from them. I mean, they can be very dark and grim, but this, I just like that light in the tunnel, or just having that really, solid support system, made it not as depressing as it could be. Let's see. And then the last book I read was A Wizard of Earthsea by Ursula K. Le Guin, and I've never read a Ursula K. Le Guin book, and so I started with this one, and I hate to say it, but I did not like it at all. It's a quartet, and I will not be reading any more of this series. The way it's written, the narrator, it just feels very removed, and like you don't really get to. I don't feel like you don't have any emotional connection to the characters, and just the writing style. I didn't care for it in the least. This is I guess Ursula K. Le Guin's attempt at writing a young adult novel, and it follows a 15-year-old boy who is learning these magical abilities, and he's really good at it, and then he lets escape this like demon devil thing, and he has to defeat it to save the world. That kind of story. But yeah, just the writing was not what I like at all. So I'm gonna try some of her other books. I'm not gonna give up on Ursula K. Le Guin. I'm gonna try like Left Hand of Darkness, I think is what I want to go with. But yeah, if you've read any of her books and you can recommend some for me, then that would be great, because I want to like this author. So yeah, those are all the books I read last week, and yeah, I will like try and like link in some of the clips from last week, because we got snow on Friday, and so I was able to work from home, which was really nice, and not have to deal with any of the icy roads or anything like that. But it's weird weather. It goes from it was like snowing and cold, like 20 degrees on Friday, and then on Sunday, yesterday, it was in the 60s. And so what the heck is that? I don't get it. It's like you go from winter to spring, and it's like yo-yoing back and forth. So yeah. Anyway, thanks. I'll see you soon, book 2.